Argo in 1955 to a funeral, and I had not been back since 47. So I was coming back with them. Emmett Till wanted to come. They were very reluctant to let Emmett come to the South because in those days, once you had problems, got into trouble, you had no help. And I had been in the South for 8 years, so I was well indoctrinated about the ways of the South, and I knew what to expect and I knew what to do to stay alive. Emmett had no idea. His mother said she trained him, but you can't give him a crash course to come to Mississippi. So they finally let him come, and we were on here 3 days. And that's when we went to the store, and at the store, that's where he whistled at Miss Bryant. His mother writes it one way, and there are a whole lot of different stories about what happened at the store. Those people that wrote the books never interviewed us, never asked us a question, not even his mother. So when we talk about it some 30 years later, things are out there, we alleged. And it's kind of offensive, but you know, I went to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and there, still in college, they had a form on Emmett Till, and they presented him from every imaginable way that you could think of, PhDs, and came my time to talk, and I said, listening to you guys, I don't think I was there that day. I said, I don't know this guy, you know, so the next guy wouldn't present, but it's amazing. It's amazing how history, so it taught me a lesson about history. It says his story, and it's just what it is, his story. However slandered, however wrong, it's out there. And I'd just like to say, as we talk about this, we operate from what we hear. Our feelings and emotions are controlled by the words that we hear. So today we're going to talk about an unpleasant thing that happened in America. American history is not that pretty all the way through. And sometimes in our family we have things that happen and we want to keep Uncle Joe or Aunt Sally quiet. We don't want to talk about it. But in America, if we talk about history, it's not pretty. So we're not here to stir up any animosity, ill will, or hate. We're here to talk about what?
History.
History. History is what? What happened. So what happened? So if you hear and you hear what happened, you're going to have emotions about it, whether you like it or not. It's automatic. You're going to have emotions about from what you hear and what you've been taught. So it may be conflicting. If you're Caucasian, you might have some emotions. If you're African American, you may have different emotions. You know, I tell people you can't expect from African Americans to feel like you feel about America. We weren't privileged. When I see a police different from what you see it. When I go to court, I think differently from our past experience. So we're not here to stir up animosity, ill will, or hate, but we're here to tell the facts, okay? So if those emotions start coming up, what you gonna do with them? Put them in your pocket. You ever heard that saying, put your feelings? My dad, I said, a guy stepped on his feet once. He said, hey man, you stepped on the foot. I said, put it in your pocket, you know? So let's keep our feelings on, let's deal with the facts. Let's deal with the facts. So being here, we got here on Sunday, it was the 28th, and on a Wednesday, after we had fish, not fish, we had been swimming, we decided to go to the store, which is, I guess, about 3 miles from my grandfather's house. If when you go to Money, you realize the town itself is small. But my grandfather lived 3 miles down this dirt road, that was gravel road. So we went up there and got to the store, and a lot of kids gathered around, they playing checkers. And I decided I'd go in the store and purchase some things. So while I was in the store, in come Emmett. And right away I said, oh my God, just hope you don't do nothing stupid, you know. I mean, Emmett was a fun look. I never seen him with a dull day in his life. He stuttered bad. He used to pay people to tell him jokes. He just loved fun, and he loved children, and he loved animals. But sometimes you find out things are not always funny to other people because you think just yourself. He'd like to make people laugh. So I left him in his store. My Uncle Simeon came, which is 12. I was 16, Emmett was 14, my uncle was 12. He came in behind him, and they said, you know, while he came out, nothing happened while I was in there. Nothing happened while he was in there. We standing around. So out comes Miss Bryant. She comes out of the store, and facing the store, she's going to the right. And all of a sudden, Emmett whistles, and we just couldn't believe, you know. Not surprised, but just couldn't believe that he's going to whistle. You know, it wasn't whistling in time, you know, when nobody let whistle that, but he could whistle that, you know. So after that happened, we become alarmed. And when we became alarmed, you know what happened to him? He become concerned. So we didn't stay around. We all, about 8 of us in one car, we jumped in the car, got in the car, and was heading down this gravel road. And as we went down the gravel road, the dust is flying and someone's coming behind us. It's dusk in the evening. I said, man, they're after us, they're after us, they're after us. So we pulled to the side, jumped out of the car, ran through the cotton field, and the car went right on back. So we regrouped, and you know, kids, we kind of forget things, but we regrouped at the end of the road, and there was a girl there named Ruth. I think she still lives in that area somewhere. She said, this is not over with. I know those people. They've done things to people before. She said, you're gonna hear about this. 16, 14, and 12, and he said, don't tell my grandfather. And nothing happened. Nobody followed us. We thought it was over with. It's Wednesday, Thursday went by, nothing. Friday went by, Saturday. You know what we do on Saturday? We go to town. When you go to town, you have a great time. I mean, it's nothing like a Saturday night in Mississippi in town. So on our way back home from town, we stopped at a place called 4/5. I think it's still out there. 4/5 still out there. Well, we stopped over there and they had a little moonshine, so sitting around. But anyway, we stopped there for a while. We got home about 12 o'clock. And after we got home, then I could hear these guys talking. About 2:30 in the morning. I said, oh my goodness, they talking about having a stroke. I said, man, I'm getting ready to die. And I just become so terrified. I heard of the stories and see things that happen in the South in those areas still not written. Word of mouth had passed on. My father even had an encounter where he had to go home, lock his door up with a shotgun loaded, but nothing come of that. So I said, oh my God, he told me what can happen and what had happened. My uncle told me about the hanging right down the street from him in Duck Hill, Mississippi, the last hanging that was there, right near his house. So I said, oh God. Very religious, come from a very religious family. So we were taught to pray, always pray, always pray. And once you're taught that and it's ingrained in you, the first thing you're going to do, and when you think death is imminent, nobody have to teach you to pray. You pray automatically. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation. I thought about this man I saw in the World War II, like a documentaries, and there's a shark coming for him. And he said, God, if you just let that shark go another way, when I go home, I'm going to treat my little girl right. You think about all the wrong things you've done. He said, my married young girl, I'm going to treat her real nice. So the shark went that way and he saw a leg fly in the air. So when death is imminent, it's easy to pray. I go to prisons all the time. I go see people that are really sick. No trouble getting them praying. So I was praying and shaking like a leaf on the feet. I said, God, if you just let me live, I'll do right. Because you think about all the evils that you've done. So I could hear these people coming toward my room, and I'm stretching my eyes. You know, in the South, when the sun and moon is not shining, even in the house, you can't see your hand before you pray. And then walk these guys walking on the hardwood floor. And they came in with a pistol in one hand and a flashlight in the other hand. And I'm waiting, I closed my eyes, I'm waiting to be shot. And I wasn't shot. And they just kind of walked on past me. I heard them say we were looking for a fat boy from Chicago, so I did hear that. They went to the third room, they found Emmett in the bed with my Uncle Simeon. Of course, they roused him up. He had no idea who he's talking to. He had no idea where he's at. And he's just talking on, yeah, no. You got to say, yes, sir, no, sir. And they were infuriated over that. It was one of the most horrible experiences it's pure terror. And you feel so helpless till you just paralyzed with fear. Because 16, I don't mind, I know how to die now, but I didn't know how to die then. I wasn't ready to die. I have a different attitude about that now. But that changed my whole life. But anyway, they finally took off with him, and that's the last time we saw him. And from there, you know, the trial and all that, and the gentleman will probably touch on that. And I guess we had question and answer later. I think I've covered enough for now. Okay. Let somebody else do it. He come and he strapped on his gun, and he took me to Duck Hill. I said, I don't know what it is, Duck Hill. And took me to Duck Hill. Okay, my uncle came, he had his gun strapped on, so he's taking me to Duck Hill, Mississippi, to another uncle's house. This guy just died, he was 105 years old, and his girlfriend was 69. And after that, he told me they came to his house looking for me. I said, yeah, that boy here? He said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, they took me there, and I didn't sleep all night because my cousins, they had no idea of what's going to fall out because they just didn't believe, even living here, they didn't believe anything like that did happen was going to happen. So they jokingly said, we're sending them up there to get you too. So I couldn't sleep all night. Every time my car goes, I'm ready to roll all the time. Can you all hear me okay about that? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? So. I don't know what we're going to do about that. I thought I was talking out. Let me get a glass of water. Do a little better. So I went to the train station a couple times trying to catch a train. And eventually I got a train and it stopped in Memphis. And Memphis is so large, I thought I was at the Chicago train station. And I was walking around feeling free and I was headed to the washroom. And everybody started yelling, you can't go in the washroom, you can't go in the They got the same white on it. I just got scared all over. I just couldn't get home fast enough. So that's how I got out of Mississippi. My uncle took me to Duck Hill and he took me to the train station. I took the train station to Chicago IC station. And we were there, and when we tell our story, we told our story too late. So it's alleged, and it's still. Wheeler alleges, Cindy alleges, and these are the truth. This book here, Rich Crow, and all the others that told stories. They didn't interview us. Simeon has a book out. The most accurate that he has out. Simeon, his story, Simeon Wright. He was there in the bed with Emmett, and he knew the story pretty much from, he was there at the court, and he was with us at the store, and he was with us along the way. So he knows the story. So
we got some.
My grandfather was very courageous. I think my grandfather felt compelled. You have taken a child from my house. Willie Reed didn't have to say anything. Willie Reed stepped up and he spoke and he told what happened. As courageous as my grandfather was, he's older. Willie Reed's a young man, and he said he just could not say nothing. So he spoke out and he got to Chicago. He was so nervous and upset he had a nervous breakdown. Also that same day, Mrs. Teal was in the hospital. They both were in the hospital at the same time for nervous breakdown. That's how much fear that they faced.
But I think it is a fact that Willie Reed and your grandfather were the first two black men to testify against white men for murder in the state of Mississippi.
My grandfather was very, very courageous man. He had no fear like that, but he didn't want to leave Mississippi. He loved Mississippi. He had planned to stay in Mississippi until one night he went home and he couldn't sleep. He went and slept in the cemetery. And the next morning, it's a white man was around the house all night with a flashlight. He said, that's it, I'm leaving. Because he knew he had no protection. He loved Mississippi. And we all love Mississippi. We love to come back to Mississippi. I feel different when I come to Mississippi. Nothing wrong with Mississippi. There's just something wrong with some people.
Have all of you seen that picture of